Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Newsmaker. There can't be a bigger newsmaker than Nandan Nilekani. It was he who made digitalization a public good in India with the father of Aadhaar, can I call you, without making you feel too old? Well, the reason why it is very important to hear out Nandan Nilekani now is that there is a new phenomenon in artificial intelligence, and a lot of people out there are looking out to you to check out, is it a constructive force, is it a difficult force, disruptive force? So that's really the first question, and I'm going to quote your previous speech where you said India wants artificial intelligence applications that benefit all citizens. It is not competing for large language models, but the Indian path is that we want to we are here to make a difference, and our aim is to give this technology in the hands of people. You seem to be a man with a plan. What's in your mind?
Yeah, so I think India has benefited hugely from digital public infrastructure, or DPI, and Aadhaar, UPI, and all these things have transformed the way we live. We believe AI has similar transformation possibilities. AI is a very powerful technology, but it's a technology like anything else. And we have to use it appropriately, safely, with the appropriate guardrails. And if we do that and apply it at population scale, then we can make even bigger impact on people. So we call this DPI to the power of AI. We sort of take DPI to the next level with AI, and we have a number of things on that front which are happening. So yes, there is a plan, and our view is that technology is only as good as its use. And we also believe that large language models will be commodities. There are going to be many of them. Every day there's a new announcement. There are many people spending money building these models. It's not the models, it's how do we apply them to make a difference. And that's where India's focus, I believe, should be.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. After UPI and the big splash it has made, around the corner, everyone is looking to you, whether it'll be ONDC, account aggregators, and now AI. But before I come to that, you need to clarify the fear that people have of AI as well. Yeah. Do you fear that before it becomes a constructive force, it may take away some jobs?
Well, I think there are many fears about AI, founded or unfounded. One is, of course, that AI will hugely automate and reduce jobs. Now, that's a fear we should take into account, because anytime a new technology comes, some jobs will go, but new jobs will come. And there'll be a period when maybe the job loss will be more than the job gain. But fundamentally, I think in India, we have to think of it differently. If we can use AI to amplify services to people, if people can get better education, better healthcare, better farming knowledge, then actually it has a very positive impact. So if farmers know more about how to farm, they'll do a better job and so on. So I think if we think of AI as amplifying human potential and applied that way, I don't think we should be that worried about AI.
I'll tell you where the worry got a little substance. For the first time in my coverage of IT companies, if you just took the top 5 companies in the Nifty, the aggregate numbers they hired was negative 62,000. Until now, we have seen slower growth, but it was always growth. A reduction in the workforce of the top 5 by 62,000 is a bit of a scare.
Yeah, but I think we have to also look at what are the factors. I don't think it's AI so much as you know that in general over the last couple of years there has been a reduction in discretionary spending of client companies.
Is that not related to AI?
No. I don't think so at all. I think AI's impact on the enterprise is very low at this stage. It's still many years away from penetrating. So, I think
to explain the 62,000,
it's a cyclical thing, not a secular thing of AI.
It's because of uncertainty in the...
In general, companies are spending less on discretionary things and stuff like that.
But is there a worry that, this is a little away from AI, that Indian IT is losing to the GCCs? Because we are seeing global captive centers not let up at all.
No, I think there's going to be a market for everyone.
Okay. Okay, so that's not the big fear. And do you see the end of this uncertainty? Do you see people, I mean, are you just getting a sense of...
No, I think everybody is waiting, and as we have seen in many conferences, there's so many things in play that we can't really know we can't exactly predict what's going to happen.
Okay, to come back to AI, you said many applications. Are you already onboarded on anything by the government or by yourself?
Yeah, so I'll give you a couple of examples. One is in the area of Indian language. I think India particularly will benefit from AI in language because we have 22 official languages and several hundred languages that we use, some only dialects and so on. So there's a lot of work going on. There's a government program called Bhashini,
Yes.
Which is there. And from my side, I've supported a group at IIT Madras. My family has supported a group at IIT Madras called AI for Bharat, which is building open source tools under the Bhashini framework in 22 Indian languages and making that available as a public good. So that is an example of AI as a digital public good. So idea being that if you have the data and models for Indian languages, then anyone can use that in their applications, be it a government application or even a private application. So one way of thinking of AI is, can there be a digital public good of AI? And Indian language, because it's non-competitive, everybody can use it.
Yes.
So that's one example of AI as a digital public good.
Can you give more examples? That's exactly the conversation I want.
So that is one category, which is building open source, open data models for different users and people can use. The second example is applying these things in education. So there are many experiments going on right now on applying AI to improve learning capabilities. Many states are looking at using AI on top of, again, existing digital infrastructure we have to improve children's ability to read or write or learn basic maths. So basic learning can also, we believe, be enhanced by AI because its ability to figure out a reason, what are the gaps in what you know or don't know, and then address those gaps through practice can make a difference. So we think there's a role for AI in education. Third example is, the government is using AI very well. I mean, in the PM Kisan project, there's a bot which actually helps farmers to figure out whether, what are they eligible for and so on. That's actually live as this moment. You can talk to the government agriculture ministry on that. And they have actually using AI in Indian languages to help farmers answer questions, whether they receive the money, what are the eligibility rules, and they're getting thousands of queries. So we're actually seeing live examples of AI being used.
Will all this mean more work for infotech companies?
Well, many of these things are being done either by the government or by philanthropists. So it's not clear whether it's a business opportunity so much. I mean, they will be, but I'm saying in this case.
But at the moment, it's a public good that you're referring.
So I think, AI, there are three things. One is AI as a digital public good, which is Bhashini, AI for Bharat. AI usage, using DPI infrastructure, which is in education and even in agriculture. And third is infrastructure to collect data at scale. Because ultimately in AI, it's the data that matters, not the models. The models, there'll be a dime a dozen. Now, most of the data which is used in the internet is internet scraped data in English.
Yes.
Now, what we need is our data to our situation. So one of the things that, for example, the AI for Bharat has built, they have built tools to collect Indian data or any local data.
Yeah.
So then we need tools to collect data at scale. So that's the third part. So you can have AI as a digital public good. You can have AI infrastructure to create data for AI. And you can apply AI along with existing DPIs to amplify education or health and so on.
Fair point. But what about the big fear that we hear in the West about biases? For instance, loans are not given to, for instance, blacks because you use AI on existing data. Generative AI is learning the bias.
Yeah,
Is
so
that also a problem?
No. It's all about training it properly, training it with the right data, using curated data for training the models, using different techniques for ensuring the answers are correct. it's really about creating boundary conditions. If you go and scrape data off the internet and build your models, then the biases of the internet will come in the thing. So you have to do a bit of work to reduce bias and hallucinations and so on. So these are not open-ended kind of AI. They have bounded data which is on a specific, for example, if it's about farmers, they'll process thousands of questions which have been vetted by somebody, so that the answers remain within that boundary.
Okay. Do you see it coming into finance in any way?
Oh, yeah.
Insurance, loan giving,
No,
credit?
I think
Generative AI?
credit assessment and all that, there'll be a big role for AI, whether generative or general AI. And AI will also come, for example, in NPCI and UPI, in that they have the UPI for feature phones, Hello UPI.
Yes, yes.
There they're using Indian language spoken command. So you can give a command and ask someone to transfer money to somebody else in Hindi or Tamil or whatever. So that's an example of extending the reach of payments into Indian languages spoken to the computer.
Let me also come to the DPI, the digital public infrastructure as well. Are you happy with the progress made in account aggregators, and even for that matter, the later on applications of India Stack? We started off with gusto, but are you happy?
Look at what has been achieved in the last. We have Aadhaar, 1.3 billion people, 80 million authentications a day. We have UPI, 350 million users, 14 billion transactions a month, 50 million merchants. You have DigiLocker, which has been built by Meti, which has close to 300 million users today with billions of documents. So, all that is already at scale. Account aggregator also is scaling up, I believe, very well. And I think, when you build these DPIs, there are lots of moving parts. And you have to get, technology, regulation, markets, this, that. So you have to get all this together. So I think in the next few years, I think account aggregator will play a big role in general, but specifically on credit and personal finance management. For example, credit. Consumers can get credit with their own data.
That's what we thought.
Yeah, but it takes, these things take time. They don't, UPI was conceived in 2013. It took off only in 2016,
COVID,
2017.
actually.
So, these things takes years. Aadhaar was conceived in 2009.
Yes.
The big value came 7 years later. So, all these things take years and years to germinate, to marinate, and before they become.
Yes. And suddenly,
and one
it is
fine day something takes. So, I think A will be that in the next couple of years.
What's your sense about this other big word which we still don't see in public infrastructure, blockchain? At one point, we thought its application is going to come in various places.
Yeah, so what happened in the blockchain world is that
we only think of crypto when we think of blockchain.
So blockchain technology is very useful, very powerful, because you can have a public blockchain, data is immutable, nobody can mess with it. Everybody has the same view, the single view of the data and so on. But I think two things happened in the blockchain world. One was it became a basis for saying we'll have our own currencies, right? So you have several thousand currencies from Bitcoin to Ether to all kinds of things, Solana, whatever. And then some of the ideological guys in that world said we will create currency without any authority. So then software became the authority. So they do all kinds of things.
Yeah, all those algos will decide how many currencies. The algorithms.
Yeah, algorithms, how much compute time, whatever. Now, one of the things that we have done is I've just launched a paper with Augustine Carstens of BIS called the Finternet.
Okay.
Launched it about 3-4 months back. And basically that's using cryptographic technology, but in the service of
finance.
Finance in a world which is regulated and proper. So you have all the business rules, be it anti-money laundering, this, that, whatever, FATF, all that. But below the hood, the transaction engine for that will use cryptography. So it combines the best of both.
So that it is safe also.
Yeah. So that Finternet paper was published by Augustine and myself on April 19th I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. It's in Washington, and there's a lot of global interest in that idea, which is essentially using blockchain type technology, but in the service of people.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we were hoping one day it will mean you don't have to go through the dollar. You can exchange, make transactions without the intervention. But that's okay, another chapter altogether. Now, coming back to Finternet, which reminds me, are you happy with the progress that fintechs have made? At one point, we were running away with our imagination, when Paytm was doing extremely well, and of course UPI joined in. But when UPI became a public good, the fintechs are not taking off in that same fashion. Are you worried or disappointed?
The payment, what UPI did was essentially made
Payment
high volume,
free.
low cost payments a commodity, right? And that actually enabled so many companies, right? So it's like basic infrastructure, and of course in payments itself, Paytm is there. We have companies like PhonePe and people like
Yes.
Google Pay.
Yes.
Then there are a lot of the capital market companies use UPI.
Oh, yes.
Zerodha, Grow, and all these guys. So education companies, I mean the companies like Physics Wala and all that, they built their subscription business on UPI or JAR, which does micro. They like every day you save a few rupees. They use UPI auto pay. So now the UPI is now becoming part of the fabric. So there are many companies being built which could not have been done without UPI.
Okay. What's your sense of the next big moment? UPI was this big moment in our...
No, I think account aggregator is a big thing. Applying AI to Indian thing will be huge. ONDC and open networks is another big thing. ONDC for commerce, ONDC for mobility, open networks for energy transactions. We have something called the Unified Energy Interface. And then there's, of course, the Finternet. So there are many things down the road which are going to... But remember, these things don't happen in a day.
Immediately, yeah.
They have to...
You're happy with the progress of ONDC?
Oh,
I think
yes.
it sparked people's imagination and interest a great deal, but it's taken some time coming.
No, again, they're already doing millions of transactions. I think they're doing an excellent job. Mobility, they have food. Food is a big thing on ONDC. They're allowing...
Food delivery, is it?
Yeah. There are many companies in food delivery. And again, different models are emerging there. There's, I think Magic Pen is a company which operates food delivery on ONDC, and they use Ola's.
I think it's very big in Bangalore.
I don't know where all they are. And they use Ola's two-wheeler EV for delivery and so on. So all these things are all coming together. So I think it'll continue to grow. And it's also ONDC, because of its architecture, allows a small supplier to now offer his products and be discovered by anyone else. So I think it's,
You're happy with the
achieved a
progress?
lot, but we have a lot more to do.
Okay. Well, just a final word. You have been in technological services and its, value-added uses. But what is the silver bullet for Indian manufacturing? Because India is in that. So, as a technocrat.
No, I think Indian manufacturing actually is poised for good growth. For one, the infrastructure is much better today in India, and people can produce and put on a container and send it to the port. All that is working extremely well. Roads and so on. So I think even air cargos, I think infrastructure is in good place. I think this China Plus One is kicking in, and there's so many companies, whether it's electronics companies, whether they're pharmaceutical companies, whether they're people who make clothes or toys. So I think
you're confident that...
Yeah, so I think there'll be a lot of shift of global manufacturing to India. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen.
Then the inevitable question is, what do you make of the services shift to India, the shift of middle office to India?
No, services is huge.
See, there is this fear, especially since every European and, elections, even in Asia, are throwing out the incumbents. There is this big fear of American elections as well. Tariffs and...
yeah, but...
Do you therefore fear this middle office?
We have to separate goods from services, right? Tariffs typically come on goods
On
and
goods,
trade.
yes.
I think services will continue because it's helping
So
everyone.
our business
to,
processes exports and
It's a big
services
thing,
exports are not
And
endangered by
GCC is there, they're part of those.
So this
companies.
geopolitics, you don't see it endangering services
No,
exports.
politics is always uncertain, but I think by and large services will continue to do well.
Okay, it's great when you say that. Thank you very much, Nandan Nilekani.
Thank you, Lata.
For your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.